Hi, this is Mohammed Janzeb with my partner Shabazz Wali and Shams Karawal. We have put together this presentation to discuss the Christensen's disruptive technologies model and the impact of technology on a firm's existence. Alright, so let's get started. The disruptive innovation is probably one of the most important innovation theories of the last decade. The core concepts behind it circulated so fast that already in 1998, 1 year after the publication of the theory, people were using the term without making reference to Harvard professor Clayton Christensen or to his book, The Innovator's Dilemma. He explains that the theory of disruptive innovation is to use to describe the impact on new technologies on a firm's existence. Christensen researches and studies at the Harvard University. Most specifically, he analyzed extensively the disk drive industry because it represented the most dynamic, technologically discontinuous, and complex industry one could find in our economy. According to Christensen, there are two types of innovation: sustaining and disruptive innovation. When looking at sustaining innovation, this is where companies try to take an existing market from a competitor. It improves the performance of an existing product along the dimensions that mainstream customers value. On the other hand, disruptive innovation is where companies can try to take on a competitor that either creates a new market or takes root among an incumbent's worst customers. This innovation will appear as cheaper, simpler, and even with inferior quality. There are two types of disruptive innovation: new market, new market by targeting non-consumers, low end of an established market. Let's take an example of 14-inch to 8-inch disk drives. The leading companies producing 14-inch drives could have developed 8-inch drives internally without much of a trouble. After all, the technological innovation involved was simple and architectural in nature. Why they did not, you might ask? Because their main customers, the mainframe manufacturers, were not interested at all in the smaller hard drives. Customer demand for capacity was growing at 25% every year, while producers of 8-inch disk drives found that with sustaining innovations, they were able to increase their disk capacity by 40% every year, almost twice as fast. Notice that most disruptive innovation will improve faster than what is demanded by mainstream customers, meaning that after some time, disruptors should be able to attack established firms as the figure illustrates. After some years, the 8-inch drives were offering an inferior cost per megabyte than 14-inch ones, and the capacity was already enough to supply lower-end mainframes. The incumbents of the 14-inch generation witnessed their markets being invaded, and obviously it was too late to react. Only one-third of 14-inch producers managed to make the transition into new technology, but eventually all of them went out of the market. Christensen puts together a six-step process to put the disruptive innovation model to practice. Let's look at each step individually. Step 1. What are the high-level jobs to be done? Rather than just looking at what people buy, examine the needs that arise during their lives. Sometimes the job is much broader than the product or service that is bought. For instance, why did I take five small children to a movie on Sunday afternoon? Because on a rainy day, I need to get them out of the house for a few hours. Could movie theaters expand their addressable market by emphasizing how they can occupy kids? What if the room used for the 20th screen was adapted instead of the inexpensive play like a children's gym? Step 2. What are the current approaches and what pain points results? Job to be done can sprawl across dozens of industry categories. By understanding the pain points associated with the competitive offerings, a business can better invest in emphasizing its distinctive strengths. Step 3. What benchmarks exist in the full range of competing offerings and analogies? Companies should always compare themselves to directly comparable firms, but they should not be seduced by the simplicity of that exercise. For instance, a movie theater could learn from Disney World about how to market merchandise to children and how to entertain people in lines. Step 4. What performance criteria do customers use? Much psychological research has shown that even horribly complicated decisions are often reduced to a small handful of criteria that people can keep in mind at any one time. Some might ask, what are they for your industry? What adjectives describe a good solution? Asking customers these questions can open up surprising routes for improving current solutions or marketing existing offerings more effectively. Step 5. What prevents new solution from being adopted? Managers are often too enamored of their own ideas. Think in a disciplined fashion about all the obstacles hindering adoption of a new solution in your industry. Talk to customers about how they made a decision to adopt a recent innovation. Not innovations in general, as that can average out important details, but rather a specific case study. The final step, what value would success create for customers? By understanding the values that lie in resolving a pain point, you can see how many degrees of freedom you have to engineer a new solution. For instance, if resolving an issue on construction sites could avoid 30 minutes of downtime twice a week, then you can get a sense of potential price and cost of a new solution. Remember that the value can be defined by money, time, convenience, peace of mind, and other metrics. Like other models, there are some limitations or disadvantages of the disruptive innovation model. First, requiring another strategy process which emergent and focused on unanticipated opportunities, problems, and successes. Second, we should focus on what people really need versus the behavior of the customer. Third, disruptive businesses can't attain the profit because of the nature of their business, about new markets and low end of existing markets. Finally, we need to know how some assumptions or conditions made of disruptive innovations. First, companies risk death with decisions to ignore technologies that do not appear to address their customers' needs, as they become fatal when two paradigmatic trajectories of project interact. The second one is, in order to solve the problem, organizations should create an independent business unit whose size matches the emerging market. Well, hope you liked the presentation and thank you so much for watching.